If you check out our Discord, you might already know what we're doing today. I've kind of been talking about it in there, and I'm excited. This week we've been doing scenes. Scenes is going to be the priority for the rest of the month, and maybe the first week in Feb as well. Probably very likely, because there's a lot to do, and I want it to be awesome. I'm always very we spend a lot of time on those scenes to make them as good as possible, and that's what we were doing on Monday's stream. We were working on the opening scene of the entire game again. It's had a real expansion, and I've been working on it off stream as well, and I'm really happy with it. I'm almost ready to show you it, but not quite. But on Friday I will be. So if you hear it first thing on Friday, you'll get to see a preview of the scene. The reason I haven't done it all is because we're at a point where we need a new NPC. We've got this silhouetted character that is a big mystery at the moment. We know nothing about them, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to decide who this character's going to be. So and once we know, I'll be immediately making their sprite so that I can actually put them in the scene he was working on, and then it'll be finished. Sort of. Be nearly finished. I'm at the halfway point. I've got up to this point. I have put the silhouette in RPG Maker for now, but I really want to get the actual asset in, because it's almost impossible to do this animation without it. So we might do a poll today, maybe. It all depends if we have a couple of ideas or more. But we'll see how it goes. We're going to just have rambles, have chats, and come to a decision who this character's going to be. I can see the first half of the stream being the rambles about them, and the second half will make the sprite. And think of their name maybe as well. Have some name suggestions too, but there's got to be a certain criteria to follow with the names. There's a couple of themes, I suppose, that we're going with, but we'll see. Okay, so I've got my character arcs list here, but we're not going to do the character arcs for this character today. We're going to just decide who they are first of all. So I've got this up. Should we zoom in a little bit so we can see it better and bigger? There we go. Yay. Okay, so I do have a few notes. I was making some notes last night, so I'm not going into this completely blind. So we're gonna bullet point the things that are super important that we're going to decide about this character, and then once there's plenty of notes, we will open Photoshop and we'll create their sprite, and then we'll decide what they're going to look like. So that'll be fun. And then we'll do their name last, maybe do the name last. Okay, so first of all, the first bullet point, thinking of priority here. Okay, so what do we know about them so far? That's the big thing. They've already had some dialogue, so we can already get an idea of their personality, who they are. They are quite informal. Let's get personality down first, considering that is what we do know, and then we'll decide the rest. Should we have a gap? I don't know, the gap. We'll just keep it like that for now. Time for breakfast. Hope you have a pleasant and warm evening. Thank you, Raj. You too. I hope your evening goes well. I've been super cozy lately. Things are getting a bit better here, the COVID thing. We cleared that in this household now, so that's not a worry. We've passed the period where my dad would have got it, so we're all good. And the house thing seems to be going a bit smoother. We might be able to sell it again, hopefully. It's looking like someone was interested in it, so fingers crossed. Okay, so the personality, from their language, what's all this ruckus over here? Bugger. Lots of, definitely the opposite of Nigel, really. Our Nigel character here this guy with the worried face, he's very formal. So this guy, or gal, but we'll talk about that in a sec, is informal. And that's pretty obvious from the dialogue. Other things, I'd say they're pretty brave, right? I mean, they've come over and run over, interrupted. We could have been anybody. So I'd say this person's going to be one of the braver ones in the village to have had the guts to run over to see what all the commotion was about. Most people in Nightfall are quite fearful. This person isn't. They're even brave and tough enough to, you know, just full on prepare to smash the barrel. And they've got an axe. They know how to use an axe. That's pretty much clear. They're not weapons. They're probably quite good with them. They're not scared. Definitely very different to Nigel. Parallels, opposites. So I will say brave, tough, uses weapons a lot. And this is, I feel, is like somebody of this sort of nature in Nightfall is quite rare. I don't think all the NPCs would have this sort of attitude. That's why they've got to have outsiders come to protect them, because most of them aren't really able in combat, I'd say. And it's not necessarily saying that this person uses weapons, they're just used to them. I think we're better to say that. Rather than see them as a fighter, they understand and see weapons quite a lot in their daily life. I'm starting to get some ideas on who they should be now. Right, so it's all coming to light. So now we're going to get in the next thing, the profession, because just from the personality that we're forming here, which all of these are kind of clear from their dialogue in this opening scene, this person should be a blacksmith. We've been talking about the blacksmith character quite a bit, actually. And hi, sir, how are you doing? How long does it take to get your kind of skill set? I am bachelor's in computer application. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. What sort of skill sets in particular are you curious about, so I can answer that question properly? But in all honesty, I would say a lot of it comes from genuine passion and determination. Even if you're not like skilled or have knowledge in a specific area, if you've got passion for it and want to like learn, that can take you a long way. That's sort of how I see things. I love games. I want to develop games too. Oh, awesome. And do I need to learn some programming language? Not necessarily. I'm not a coder. I've not been trained to code. I haven't got a computer science background or a coding background. I'd say it helps, especially if you want to go into engines like Unity and that. In fact, I'd advise that you learn to code, but I actually don't. I'm one of the ones that don't. But that means my learning curve is much bigger than most, because I'm not a coder and my background is design, not code. So yes, and that's why I ultimately use RPG Maker as my engine, because it's so much more friendly for people like me that are more of a design and creative background rather than a coding background. But I just say, if you've got an interest in games, just pursue it. Try it a day at a time. Have a mess about and just experiment and see where it takes you. That's what I think. And there are a lot of tools out there that let you make games without knowing coding, but knowing how to code helps. Yeah, like Xavier says, I'd say it helps. Like, if you're a coder or if you know code, you've definitely got an edge. But if you don't let that stop you either. But yeah, chat if you want to chat about that with Sahil, and feel free to talk about it. It's always a fun topic to talk about, going into game dev, and I know that peeps that come to this channel have an interest in it too. There's many reasons why people come here: game dev, liking my accent, liking the chill vibe of stream, just a number of things really. Awesome. Yeah, Zava's pretty knowledgeable, and pray listen to Zava. Okay, so blacksmith is the profession. I'm thinking reason I'm attached to blacksmith is things are lining up with this character that really gives me blacksmith vibes. We also know for a fact that we need a blacksmith in Lakefall. There is a weapon and armour shop. We've even chatted about the blacksmith recently in chat, even though it's a question mark on who that person was. We just call them the blacksmith. But there was ideas about them paralleling Nigel as a character in quite a few ways, really, which I'll get down in a sec. Because Nigel's the innkeeper, but his persona's very anxious, formal, polite, well-mannered. Overly a people pleaser, and yes, this person is definitely a real opposite parallel to Nigel. We also, we'll talk. I was going to talk about something else regarding blacksmith, but I'll expand on that in a sec because there's a lot more other things to get in first before we carry on. Thanks for the tip, yay! You graduated in 2017, working about 2 to 3 years on jobs, which absolutely sucks. I feel like I miss out, yeah. I feel like I'm in my 30s now, my early 30s, and I feel like I should have started this when I was in 10 years ago. And the interest's always been there, the interest has been there since I was 10. Well, I started using RPG Maker when I was 12. And I started making websites when I was 7. When I say making websites, I mean Angel, Fire and GeoCities. Nothing fancy, but that was what was around back then. I'm back on my bulky old computer, Windows 95 back in the day. So I had such an interest in creating things from a very young age, but certain paths I took in life made me held back from my true passion. I went on to pursue design and went down a slightly more corporate route than I wanted to, and then I started thinking, well, no, I love video games, that's what I want to do, so I'm back here again. Graduated in 2018 and then decided to go back to school for a master's. Almost done with it now then. Congrats, that's so awesome. That's awesome. But there's no age to anything, I say. Even if we feel like we're getting older and we've wasted time, or I don't think age should hold us back. People should still pursue their hobbies when they're 80 if they want. Alright, next thing. Now, gender. We could have easily gone for a lady blacksmith and that would have been pretty cool, but I'm kind of keen on the idea of them being a guy, so we get stronger parallels with Nigel. And not only that, I think there should be a romanceable option for Nigel too. Because one thing we have in Raindrop Chronicles is a romance system, and I'm very keen on it being quite a romance system, if possible. If I can be as ambitious as this with it, make the NPCs romance each other if you decide not to romance them, or at least some of them. Not it can't be too fluid and complex because it'd probably be too difficult to pull off, but even at its most simple, I'd like it if NPCs could romance each other. Now, Nigel is a gay romance option, male only. I'm all for having the diversity in this game, and we have a lot of romanceable options that can romance both genders, but Nigel is just male specifically. And if if the hero, us as the player, don't romance Nigel because we're not playing as a male character, or we don't want to romance a male character if we're male, then Nigel should find love elsewhere, I say. And maybe this like person, like opposites attract. I know, I think it'd be quite interesting, especially with like the list of ideas I've started coming up with for this person. I think this person and Nigel could make a sweet couple. Okay, so male. I'm going to also say romance option for Nigel. Or potential romance option for Nigel. So we won't get carried away with it just yet, but let's just say potential romance option for Nigel. Hi Matt, how you doing? It's good to see you. You were getting disguised with Sahil because your name's the same colour on my end. And I was like, I didn't notice that Matt came in. Feel that, and okay. And there's also game jams you could enter just to get started and meet more in the game dev community. Super easy to start. Yeah, and talking about game jams, let me give a shout out to Vagabond Dog, because I don't know if the game jam is still happening. It might be too late now. It might be, but he does do them on a regular basis. So he's one to follow if you're interested in game jams. That's for sure. Okay, so potential romance option for Nigel, and because the personality that's forming with this guy, this opposite to Nigel personality, I think there could be a really interesting dynamic between the two, and they could learn a lot from each other as well. And maybe this person should be a romance option for us as well, not just Nigel. If so, they could be a character that's bisexual and maybe can romance, no matter what gender you are. That could work, because I feel like we should allow the lady characters to romance this one too. Okay, now another detail I want to get in before we get into the nitty gritty with this character. Let's catch up with chat first. And if we want a lady blacksmith, there'll be room for more smithing in other towns, especially with businesses. Of course, yeah, like things with blacksmiths, you get them in every town. And there's no, like, part of me did want that, like, that lady character, that woman character who is super tough and badass. So it was kind of appealing to go down a lady blacksmith route, but we can do it in the future. I like the idea of who I'm sorting to get in mind for this character, especially because, okay, so their appearance now, which is another thing I want to set in stone with this character that I was thinking about. I think they should be a black character. I think they should be dark skin colour, because we haven't got any diversity in the whole cast yet. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but we haven't, and that needs to change. You need to introduce some different people of colour in the game, and I think that'd be really cool to have like Lakefall be quite diverse, because it is a human only village, and that shouldn't just be limited to humans that are just like, white. Of course not, especially with this war of the reptiles. I think we want to show that we've advanced from human racism, but the problem is the racism's targeted to other species now, so it's still not much better. But hi Van, how you doing? It's good to see you. Hope you're having a good week so far. How's work going today? So I'm gonna say dark skin. As for anything else, I'm not sure. I could imagine it might be quite brawny. I don't know. I put brawny question mark. Only because I'm thinking of how I want them to be so different to Nigel, right? I think that'd be really cool if they're opposite to Nigel in that way. Blacksmiths are usually they're not weak. They are pretty strong physically. So instead of saying brawny, I might say physically strong. I think that sounds a little bit better. Working, lurking, and Biden says they're kind of watching that too. Oh yeah, that's true as well, isn't it? That's cool. Hopefully on to better times. And I hope you enjoy your luck. So there we go. But as for what we're doing today, we're creating a brand new NPC today. Fun times. It's this NPC and the singing one that we're making here. We're looking at their dialogue so far and figuring out who's going to suit this silhouette, this mystery character. And we're going to make that sprite later on in stream too. And we're making some notes on who this should be. Okay, so I think we've got the key things in. I think it's good to have someone who's a romanceable option, who's a person of colour as well. So I think this should be available to all genders, but I like the idea of them being a potential Nigel one as well. If you don't romance Nigel, that is, but that's all questionable. It all depends on how their arcs go in your playthrough. And also we should say casual one for us, because he can't be a serious romance. He'll just be like fling casual romance, which literally just means a single cutscene and a bit of flirty banter. It's not a deep building romance, but there'll probably be, a handful of NPCs per city that you can have flirty, flingy banter with, and that's what I mean by a casual romance, which we talked about in the romance stream a few weeks back. We talked about there'll be two types of romances. Carol the Barrel falls under a serious, deep romance, and so would Violet. But certain NPCs that are just in a single town would be a casual romance. And yeah, so it's actually going to be live streamed on Twitch. Hopefully they have a good mods in chat. Oh my goodness. Some people shouldn't be allowed on the internet. Now, in all honesty, it's really good that the internet's open for everyone, but I just kind of hate that it's so toxic. And so many people in the world suck. So you can have multiple romances through the game. That will be interesting, yeah. I'd say it's the one feature that I really want to make sure is pulled off, because when you're a solo developer, you can't exactly have everything, can you? You got to pick and choose what you value and where you want your game to shine, rather than spread yourself out too much over loads of different areas. I mean, after all, it's not an MMO and it's not going to have every single feature under the sun in it. But there's certain ones, a handful, and romance system's one of them, that I really do want to try and pull off. And the features and all that kind of thing isn't something I'm going to be like predominantly or working on at all this year. This year's dedicated to the main quest of episode 1, and next year is going to be more about features and side quests and details and that. Like, it's all about getting down that foundation, that base for episode 1 this year. The main quest from beginning to end, and then getting all the fleshy detail added on top of it once that base is down, rather than doing bits and bobs and going from different areas of the game dev, because that kind of would scare me doing it that way. I did it in the early days, but I soon changed my mind because it was a little bit chaotic and messy doing it that way, and it could be nasty in regards to bugs and things like that. So I kind of want to make sure I approach it from a very organised way when doing this project. Hi Loki, how you doing? It's good to see you. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It'd be so sad if you're in a single committed romance and that character dies in the story. I know, right? Yes, that's the thing as well, because there'll be certain romance, like there's two different categories with romance. The serious, deep, overarching romance stories where there's a gradual development. People like Carol and Violet will fall under that, and I'd say you have to really be a main character in the story to be able to be that romance, one that's in it for most of the saga. Not necessarily, because there could be some that you meet mid to end game that could still fall under that could work if they're like a really key part of an episode. Then it could work under some exceptions, but mainly it would be the main characters. And then the second category is like the casual romance, which is just like a couple of light-hearted, flirty cutscenes, maybe a one-night stand, and it's all over and done with very quickly, and it's not committed. And that's usually for people like this guy and Nigel, and any like citizens that live in a single town and aren't adventurers with us, or like in the saga from beginning to end. But that's very true. Like, there's a lot of intricacies to the romance system and how it's all going to work, and cheating and things like that, and if certain NPCs will get mad at you if you romance others. I'd say you can only be in one deep romance, but you could have several of the casual ones and get away with it. But there's a lot of things to design and decide still. It's still very early days, and it's not something I'm wholly gonna completely focus on in 2021, but it'll be thought of more thoroughly next year when we're more towards the late alpha stage of the development of episode 1 and moving on to the beta. Just hard indeed. All the variables. I'd have to just approach it in a very organised way. And be interesting to see how it goes. I want to be ambitious, and I'm sure there'll be some limitations, but maybe there's some ways to use the hacks to get what I want. I've been doing that in cutscenes. Pulled off some really tough stuff in the cutscenes that you can't really do in RPG Maker by default, but I managed, so I'm quite proud of myself. I'm looking forward to showing you that cutscene when it's done, everyone. Friday. Okay, next thing. Okay, so of course, is there a Nigel romance option and stuff? I don't think there should be too much of an age gap. We set it in stone. Nigel was 12 when the war happened. I'm thinking that this person shouldn't be much older. Maybe they were an apprentice blacksmith at the time of the war. Perhaps they was about 16 years old. So that would only make them 4 years older than Nigel, so it's not too much. So should be old enough to remember the war that happened 17 years ago. Now, this is important. They have to be able to remember the war, because this is details we've decided together when we had our character arc streams recently. There's going to be stuff that happened during that war is what's made this person, this blacksmith, into what they are today. We sort of liked this idea that I'm about to talk about. Okay, so it should be older enough to remember the war. So, they were probably quite young, perhaps a 16-year-old apprentice blacksmith. be too much older than Nigel. Who was 12 during the war. He was the same age as his sister during the war. Only because, you know, if he was like an elderly, you know, an elderly man, he'd be weird. Nigel and him were in a romance. So I don't think there should be too much of an age gap. He's kind of should be a youngish guy. That would make him, how old would he be if it was 16, 17 years ago? 33? Yeah, 33, which is fine. And Nigel would be 29. Now this is the interesting bit. So I'm going to make this backstory section a little bit smaller in text because it can get a bit lengthy. So this is, I'm trying to remember what we talked about, folks, in the couch room, because I know we had some chats, Met and the rest of us, about this blacksmith. So I remember at one point we suggested that Fiona be very serious about her work as an innkeeper, which we know isn't going to be the case because she's the opposite of serious about her work. She goes off on trekking around the forest, completely neglecting her duties as an innkeeper and just loads it all onto Nigel. Now, this is where it gets interesting because the blacksmith should be the one that's serious about the work. They're actually the one that is. So they parallel Fiona in that way because she's not serious and the blacksmith is. And there's a reason for why they're serious about their job. It's because of the war. They believe they didn't do enough because of the people died, and they feel like their stuff, their armour, their weapons weren't good enough, and that's why they died. And now, ever since, they've just made sure that they just work so hard to do whatever they can with their job. Okay, so let's get that in. Carry guilt from the war. You know, it makes a lot of sense that we're doing the blacksmith now and this person is the blacksmith, because considering that is one that we have sort of already developed from recent streams. So it just all works. The fact that they use their axe in this sequence here, they're clearly someone who's okay with handling weapons, which is probably not common in Lakefall. Most people probably wouldn't handle weapons that well. They carry guilt from the war and believe they didn't do enough, or they didn't provide citizens with enough, well, with good quality armour and weapons. If they did, they wouldn't have died. I mean, if they're apprentice, that means that, you know, they're not completely responsible, but maybe there was a lot of pressure put on them, who knows. Something to talk about and consider. Because this backstory bit is mouldable, you know, we can have a chat about this and decide what's going to be the best. And just give our thoughts. And they take their job as a blacksmith very seriously now due to what's happened. Maybe nothing matters as much to them as this. Now, oh yeah, this is the opposite to Fiona. Fiona, who doesn't take her job as innkeeper seriously at all. Maybe we should start bullet pointing this. Oh yeah, so the one interesting thing is that Lakefall as well is the weakest area of the game. It's early game, right? It's the first area in the whole game. So it's kind of sad in a way that they're so serious about the job when they'll only ever make weak stuff. Because the game design and the fact it's early game means that we can't like have super powerful weapons here. They're gonna be the weakest of any other town or any other place we go to. Because naturally the game RPG progression is like that. So it's also thinking I'm also trying to get into the like whole world and setting here of Lakefall with materials that they'd use for blacksmithing, especially if they're not going to be that strong. And it is quite primitive here in Lakefall. We're not like an advanced society, so that's something to consider as well. I'd say whatever metals they forge, it should probably be metals that aren't the most valuable and maybe kind of weak. I'm trying to think what is okay, so what is, let me do a Google search because I'm curious about this myself. Metals, most valuable to least. I'm trying to think what metals they would specialise in, because this is Lakefall, it's weak. There's plenty of cliffs, so plenty of opportunities for like ores in the cliffs. We should get tiled up and look at the cliffs a sec. Thank you for the host, Fantasia. I super appreciate you. How are you doing today? So let's have just a quick nosy at the world. We're just getting sidetracked just a little bit, folks, so we can think what kind of metals would be mined here. And it can't be strong, it can't be good metals, it has to be the worst metals ever. Because it's early game, we kind of have weapons. I'm thinking, well, that's why I googled it. That's why I googled metals most valuable to this, because I'm no metal expert, to be quite honest with you folks. I'm hoping that Google can tell me. Copper, bronze, maybe. I mean, they can be forged, can't they? Because I think iron might be a little bit too good for Lakefall, looking at the area itself and the fact that it's we've got so much wood here, but obviously the cliff says, so it's not impossible for the blacksmith to exist and be able to do their job, because we can be creative about what's in these rocks here. And they're brown. They're not grey rocks. So brown rocks, brown coloured metals, bronze ores, everyone. I'm just trying to think. Maybe I've missed the obvious ones, but that's the first thing that's come into my mind. Because I don't want to get too, I'm trying to think of the period of time we're in here too, and there's no sign of any much silver coloured metals around. And even if they did get the metals imported, it would be very expensive for them. So I think they'd probably mine the cliffs of Fall to get their materials. Wow. Yeah, that actually looks like the colour of the cliffs to me. Gotta go for realism. Maybe copper or bronze then. And let's just make sure. Is anyone here a metal pro in chat? Is anyone a metal pro? Well, it is a thing. You can forge bronze. I was wanting to make sure, because I only thought it came about in the Iron Age, but I figured it would make more sense that it's bronze or copper here. A metal pro, what are you trying to find? And High Fantasia as well. Thank you for that host, if you heard me earlier. What are you trying to find? What it is, Fan, we make a blacksmith character. We're just fleshing them out a little bit. And because this is early game, this blacksmith, the weapons they forge, they're not going to be OP. Let's face it, it's the weakest area in the game, and that's kind of a bit sad in a way with their character arc, because they take their job as a blacksmith really seriously due to what's all written here. And the fact is, no matter how seriously they take this job, they'll never be as good as some of the other blacksmiths in the world, because they're in Nightfall, which is early game. So game progression cannot make this blacksmith too good, because we can't be too strong this early. And we were thinking of the cliffs of Fall, obviously, as places where you could obviously mine the ores that you used for making weapons. I'm trying to get super realistic here, you see. And they look a bit brownish, so I'm thinking bronze and copper, you see. And I want it to be weak metals, really, because of it being early game. Oh, Bronze Age was before Iron Age. Technically, a bronzesmith would be a separate job from a blacksmith or silversmith. Oh, really? Yeah. Because in a way, smiths have loads of different categories. You have goldsmith and all these different kinds of smiths, don't you? So it's just thinking of the location here. So with Fall, folks, because we know it's quite primitive in its ways. They're not exactly cavemen, but they're definitely not an advanced civilization society. They live a very woody life, very, very humble. And that works great that they're not that advanced, because then we don't have to have super powerful weapons in this game. Because, if we imagine the game progression, we'll be at the farm next, then the capital. I imagine the capital's going to have more stronger weapons. They'll have their iron and their steel, perhaps. And, you get swords then, because swords aren't made out of bronze, because that's not strong enough, is it, for swords? But axes can be made out of bronze. And so can arrow, like with the weapons we've got here in Lakefall, that could work, even if we have to change to a bronze smith rather than a blacksmith. So it's a thing. It's not like the Bronze Ages, bronze axes can never exist. So they can. And copper. Yeah, copper's another as well. I was thinking bronze, copper, like one or the other. Like looking at these clips, I'm getting bronze or copper vibes for what like sort of ores they could get from this area. Definitely not iron, because I don't know, it would strike me more as a grayer colour scheme if it was iron, and I don't even want it to be iron because it feels like a little bit advanced for Lakefall. Well, kind of, because I'd rather the capital be the place for iron. I want it to be more simple here. So, and someone who does copper and brass can be called either a coppersmith or a brazier. But yeah, it would work. I mean, I'll admit I'm not like a pro when it comes to blacksmithing, so I need to educate myself a bit more. But those things you can still forge, like, you know, create weapons from that sort of thing, like melt the metal and turn it into axes and arrows for bows and things like that, right? If so, then that's workable. And I think that should be the sort of stuff that they do. I mean, maybe they do get some iron imported, but it probably wouldn't be much because it'd be expensive for them. So it'd be few and far between. Strictly speaking, swords are made of bronze until iron ones outpass them by being hard enough to cut through copper blades. Yeah, so iron's always superior to bronze and copper and brass, isn't it? And that works. It makes sense that the weapons we have early game in episode 1 are going to be weaker, and then we'll go on to getting stronger, more superior weapons with stronger metals as we progress through the game from place to place. We don't want to have like the best OP axe here and then go to the next city and then it's like some weak one. So thinking of that, maybe it would work to think of this as a very sort of copper bronze place in regards to resources. Who's with me? Let me know if you agree, or you can see it making sense, or if there's thoughts that you're thinking, chat, so we can get real with this world and this place. We can even change blacksmith to weapon maker. Now that doesn't work. Blacksmith sounds better, but I agree. If it blacksmith specifically for iron, then maybe we need to call it coppersmith or bronzesmith or something instead, or even another name altogether. Armourer. To think of the right term. But yes, he's very serious about his job, but he'll never be the best blacksmith. Maybe he could be, but the materials that they have here in Nightfall just don't allow him to be the best. Okay, so I've put in my notes, consider how this character will get on with the other characters so far in the game: Nigel, Fiona, Carol, Violet, and a good hero and an evil hero. So that's something to consider too. I mean, we've already mentioned that there's parallels with Fiona, with him being the opposite, with how seriously they take their jobs, and also parallels with Nigel because they're both completely opposite guys. But as for Carol and Violet and the hero, that's still a question mark. We'll have to do a character arcs list for this character once we've finished them. And like assign them a belief and stuff. But this is a good like starting point for sure. But it'll be fun to get a bit deeper. And that's reasonable. Iron can be cheaper because it's more common once you can make it. But this could be a place where it's relatively scarce. If he's a general armourer, that could also include leather. Yeah. For sure. I think I see it as this place probably isn't quite advanced for iron and that kind of even for armour as well. Their armour's probably a bit weaker too, because we cannot make, just because this is a game and it's the first area, we just can't make it too OP either. So only makes sense to make them a little bit more tribal than the capital, if we go there in episode 2. So okay, and yeah, iron's definitely not too rare for sure, but yeah, I could imagine it being scarce here. I'm glad that the cliffs do look brown and not, it works quite well, I think. Okay, so I should make a note of that actually on profession. And if we do go for the coppersmith, we should get rid of this sign and change it a bit so it's not. Okay, I'm gonna cross that off now. Okay. I think we've got the main things. I think the next task in regards to this would be doing the character arc part. But first, before we do that, let's get some name ideas and an appearance down for this character. Now, the name, whatever his name's going to be, it should fit with the whole English themed sort of names we're going with like for Nigel, Fiona, Lakefall is sort of going with a whole very almost a British named theme place, and also it'd be cool if it kind of fit with his personality, his name, and it was more of a like stronger name that works opposite to Nigel, to get those opposite parallels in more. So I'm going to just say strong sounding masculine name, British origins. So if anyone's got any ideas that fit that theme and criteria, feel free to suggest. We can always do a poll for this name if we get a few. I'm going to put ideas and put some of my own down as well. I'm gonna have it. I've got another window up here where I'm googling name meanings, folks, so we can have it connect with who they are. Oh, I've got one good one, but before I put it down, I want to have at least 3 ideas. got 2 ideas. I want to have a third though. Okay, so if anyone has any nail models, feel free to throw them at me. I've just got that tiny list so far. Might add a few more. I'm looking at name like websites and Axel's come up. Before I got Axel, lol. Yeah, let's Google it. I'll get it up for everyone to see this time. None of them strike me as the name that he should have. Archibald's there. See, I don't think that suits him, but I'm thinking that would be what Nigel would call him. Because he's you know, posh. But that would be his real name. I mean, we could go for blacksmith sounding names, but would that be cliche? Angus sounds like a blacksmith name. These are too addictive, these chocolates. They're going to be all gone in a minute. So since we're younger craftsmen, I guess our relationships could include his teacher and people he's trying to build his reputation with or his career. Well, he's not young anymore. He's 33 now in the present day. He was 17 during the war. So that he was not, just so, because Nigel was 12 during the war, so if they're going to be romanced, if they're going to find a romance together, it's a question mark whether they will right now, but I just like that idea for a male NPC romance for Nigel as well, if the hero doesn't romance them. Because one cool feature of our romance system would be if NPCs romanced each other as well, so it just shows that the world doesn't revolve completely around the hero. They have lives and relationships too. And I didn't want to make him too much older than Nigel because it'd be a bit creepy perhaps. If Nigel was 12 during the war, then it kind of would work if he was 16 in the war too, but that would make him 33 now. Which means he's probably the leader at the shop now. Probably has the run of the place, but that doesn't mean he didn't back in the day. There was probably someone who was his mentor back then. Nigel's 29 now, and he's 33. And he can be a romance option. I've even put here casual romance for us as the player too. So would he still be subordinate or master smith of the town? Even at 33, being the eldest suggests all of the older smiths died, which I guess makes sense as part of his backstory. Yeah. I think Lakefall should definitely have some older villagers. I mean, I know there's going to be an older man in the Stumpy side quest that needs the blanket. And we need those older citizens that are really set in their ways and have those like really racist thoughts over the reptiles on there. And the younger ones are probably a lot more open-minded. So there could still be an older blacksmith, like one that's like much older and they survived the war and they could have been their superior, the one that sort of trained them while there was an apprentice blacksmith. That's something to consider. Whatever fits best for the story. I think maybe we'll start getting even more ideas when we form this character arcs list for them. But it's still good to have the ideas because then we've got something to go off when we do it. I mean, it could go either way right now. Either he's the only one or there's another one. But I kind of have the sort of thoughts I want every NPC to have a purpose and not be just filler. So if we do have another one, that whoever that or the blacksmith is, the old one has to have some like really key purpose in the story too, an interesting story. Otherwise, I kind of think I'll cut them if they're not interesting enough. Wanted something in the background while I worked, but I had a list of British names for my D&D characters familiar, so now I have to look it up. Guess the most masculine on my list is Reggie or Reginald. Let's get that one down. Yeah, it's a challenging one, right? You having one that sounds British enough but strong. And I'm sure every town, region in the game will kind of have its own themes with naming. But it seems that Lightfall's definitely taken the British sort of naming with Fiona and Nigel, that's for sure. I think we should do a poll in a bit. I'll give you guys another 10 minutes or so to potentially suggest some names, but once that time runs out, we'll get the poll up. It's best to get the polls up as early as possible in the stream. I mean, there's a lot of really cool British names on this list here that I'm looking at, but a lot of them aren't masculine or strong enough sounding for me. I'm not sure. I still want the name to give blacksmith vibes, but I think the ones we've got on the list so far are pretty good. You know, maybe for the blacksmith you could have blacksmith, yeah, who personally makes things out of wood and uses bone for things like arrowheads and stuff. That's quite something too. If we want to go completely for the whole tribal setting, let's get our tiled map up again and have a look around the area. I guess the question is if that was how they did things and made weapons solely out of wood or even rock, like just the cliff rock itself that hasn't got metal ores in, could be something used for axe heads and things, right? This general rock itself. But what would their proper profession be if they made weapons out of rock or weapons out of wood and didn't have a forge? That's the question then, because they couldn't really be considered a blacksmith. And would they really need all that training and all that apprentice work if it's as simple as that? I mean, it might be harder than I think, but this person really does take their job seriously and sees it as a real livelihood to them, and they want to really make up for what happened. Oh, hi guys, how you doing? Thank you for the raid. I'm rambling here. Ignoring the raid, how dare I? Hi Vagabond Dog, how are things? Rigi, Codapil, Ragnarok, how are you guys doing? Darkstone Digital, thank you so much for that follow. Let's give a shout out to Vagabond Dog. How was the stream? How did it go? And you could have the Arabs made a shell as well. I mean, they would probably learn a lot about woodworking and simpler metal crafts. Maybe copper and ores exist in these cliffs, but they're a rarity. I could see them being not too common, perhaps. So they have to resort to making weapons out of rock and wood, mostly. But the odd weapon might be made out of copper, maybe. When they finally do, but they're far more expensive. Like if you was going to buy it in the shop, it'd be more expensive than the one that's made out of wood or rock. So maybe that, if so, that could extend their job to being a coppersmith or a bronzesmith. They're not just completely. I want them to have some kind of. It'd be nice that they had. It's hard to put it into words, but like a proper profession, right? And great, just played a game by Codapil, releasing tomorrow on Steam, called Fragments, also made an RPG Maker. Very cool. Oh, cool, Codapil. Yeah, Codapil has sent me some of their stuff on Steam. That's awesome that you're releasing a new game, Code. Are you excited? Feel free to put the link to the Steam page in this chat, Coda, so peeps can have a look. They might have some training to make things like axes and hammers, because those would be tools for the farms. The farms are mainly out of the way, aren't they, past part of the map, where we'll be visiting in episode 2. But I imagine they do a lot of trading here, between here and the farms. How about Woodworker or Carpenter? It makes sense. Like, if we look at Lakefall, it's wood. Everywhere's wood. We've got all the houses are like 100% wood. All the buildings. You've got the bridges made out of wood. The trees. It's just wood everywhere. The resources, it's either wood or this cliff rock. So I'm trying to think of the cliff rock itself, and if everything was wood here, what has stopped them from using the cliff as resources? That's a question. Like, you would ask with all that cliff, all those potential ores to mine, what's stopping them? What's stopping them getting more valuable and potentially stronger resources, especially if this blacksmith is very serious with how they take the job, right? They want to make sure that they make up for those that died back in the war from the guilt they carry, so they will do anything they can to be the best blacksmith ever, even though it's a pretty hard task because this is the first stage in the game. So the weapon's gonna be weak. Poor guy. He'll never be the best blacksmith. Yeah, there it is. Awesome. I'll have a look at that later, Coda Pill. It's been a good time making it. If you want to tell us what it's about, like, give us a summary, feel free to. It's up to you, of course, but you're more than welcome to. Shell rock is not as strong as other stones, but higher hills can be made from it, and it was used for arrowheads and stuff. Cool. So arrowheads, axes as well. Because, I want to just be realistic, folks. So it's good that you're giving me a bit of general knowledge on things like this, so I can learn as well, because it's so easy to just think copper, iron, bronze and all your standard materials for weapons, but there could be others for sure. I mean, so is this what we're thinking? Definitely could be that. It's got that reddish brown, almost sort of look to it in Everbloom, so I could buy it being that. So I guess we could see this character as being the general craftsman of the village, whether that's a carpenter, whether that's a coppersmith, whether it's what would you call a general art weapon maker that would use rock. What's the proper term for that? Weapon, because it obviously isn't blacksmith if it's not metal stuff. Hi Kung, how you doing? It's so good to see you, and welcome chat. I'm rambling on here, but let me tell you what we're doing today. We've been doing scenes this week. I've been going back into RPG Maker, and we're implementing Main Quest 1 scenes, and I'm really happy with what I've done so far. I've got up to this point with Carol. Off stream I had a real mess around and got it all really going smoothly last night. And we got up to this bit, and now we're at the part where we're at this mystery NPC in the scene, and I've had to put this silhouette character in the scene because we haven't got the character done yet. So that's what today's stream's going to be about. We're actually making this NPC today, so I can actually put them in the scene for good this time. And we're getting down just a few notes on who they're going to be. It's been decided they are going to be blacksmith was their original profession, but we're realising that Lakefall's quite tribal in its way of life. They don't have iron and all those strong materials you'd use to make your weapons and your general blacksmith stuff. So we're trying to think a little bit more like what they actually are, based on the resources that are available in Lakefall and the fact they're not that advanced with their weaponry. They've got lots of wood, there's lots of rock from the cliffs. Maybe there is a bit of copper and bronze ores in the cliffs, but that's questionable at this point. But all we do know is that there's lots of wood and there's lots of rock here. So we're trying to get set on a proper profession name for this person based on that, but we know they're the general crafts person that does make all the things in Nightfall. They're gonna be braver and quite tough. They're used to using weapons. We're thinking of masculine sounding British names. So this guy, he's gonna have dark skin because we haven't yet got a person of colour in the game, so it'll be great to introduce someone who is. And then we got a bit of backstory here for them as well. So let's catch up with chat. And you play as a guy getting questioned by two detectives over a crime he may be involved in. It's about guilt and controversial means of unearthing memories we'd rather forget. That sounds really fun, actually. I don't think there's enough games like that where it's more about the dialogue and the conversation rather than all out action. Sounds interesting. Definitely gonna have to have a peek. Lady Gaga's singing, yeah. I bet it's a big party. I'm curious. I'd watch it myself if I wasn't streaming. I've got loads of these stuck in my teeth. They're all gone now because I've been super greedy eating them on stream. Alright, so if anyone comes up with the perfect profession name for this character, feel free to let me know, because it seems like we've got a bunch of things at the moment. Coppersmith, Carpenter, weapon person. Because I can't say blacksmith because there's no metals. It's all rock and all wood, so they'd make weapons out of wood and out of rock. And it worked. It's just perfect. That's ideal for the stage of the game we're at. We're at early game here, so we don't want to get too advanced with the weaponry that's available this early on. We want to see that progression, so it'd be nice to go through the next towns and see that they've got the bronze and they've got the iron and they've got all these even better than iron. They'll be later on as well. So we're starting very simple, ideally here, and it's kind of makes it a little bit sad in a way, because this blacksmith takes their job really seriously. I need to stop calling them a blacksmith as well, and we'll have to change the wording if we do get set on a overall title for them, because we've got a mishmash of things right now. But yeah, a lot of people died in the war, and it probably is because they didn't have very good weapons. That probably is why they died, sadly. Yeah, so we're thinking of names, folks, so I'm going to get a poll up in the next 10 minutes. If anyone's got any really cool, strong sounding masculine names for a guy that are British in origin, feel free to suggest them, because Lakefall has gone with the very British sounding name theme so far with our NPCs, so we're sticking with that with Nigel and Fiona. So these are the ones we've got so far, and I'm like looking through to see if there's any others, but none of them are like giving me the vibe of this character 100% just yet. What's this? I want the meaning to fit with the character, because I'm weird like that. What does Ivor mean? I want to know now. It's kind of a like Scandinavian name apparently, but it is kind of Scottish too, which is British, so it means warrior apparently. Woodworker's a masculine name. Not a pig, yeah, we've COVID, that makes sense, and that's sensible, really, for sure. And I'm glad they're wearing masks. And I'm also writing a little story for my eldest son. So sorry, my creativity is all gone. Oh, awesome. But I want to know what that story is now. Matchmakers, what a throwback. You know these code. Yeah. They're a good one. And now we've come to the end of the list. I like that name but I wasn't not sure if it fits for this character. So maybe we should have just done this list. There's 6 there. If you've got any ideas, feel free to suggest and I may get added to the poll. But if you don't, then it won't get added on it. So we'll get this on in a minute because I'm not sure which name to go for out of the 6. So there's going to be a poll. We'll get a poll up so you can get a vote in, and we'll keep it open until the next stream. And we'll say what tops it. Fun times, okay. Awesome. I'll read that properly later about the weapons. But yeah, it's a good thing to consider. I mean, it's not like super big rush to get set on what it is that he does and the materials just yet. But of course, it's good to think about because at some point we'll need to know those details. But at least we're aware of it, and we can chat. We can have a think about the best materials to go for. Okay, so polls. I can't remember how to do this, so I'm gonna have to do a test. I think it's /poll. Let's zoom in. So, oh my god, Vagabond Dog, you've nearly got the 1k, which means you'll be blue in our Discord when you've got 1k as well. Huzzah! Nothing long or so, but he gets lost and doesn't find his way home until he finds a magical stone that makes him communicate with animals, so they help him get home. That sounds really cute. Sounds cute, Kung. Because I know you're a writer yourself, aren't you, Kung? Or you used to be. Okay, so what are we going to call this? So, what should we call... One sec, so... I've done a poll similar to this in the past when we thought of Oliver and Axel's names. So I'm just going to remind myself how I structured that poll. What should we name? Yeah. I think that should be the title. What should we... So, what should we name the... Oh gosh, we don't... I was going to say, what should we name the Blacksmith of Lakefall? But, damn, we can't even get set on his proper profession name now. Because we don't know if it's actually a blacksmith. What all happens at 1k? Well, 1k is a very special number in this stream because not only do you become a legendary Raindrop and become blue in the Discord, you get the chance to submit a character to Raindrop Chronicles, an NPC, which Are these folks walking across the screen? Meticulac recently submitted a form. So in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing Met's character and putting them on the stream avatars. So that'll be fun. Fun times. I used to be, then I got too self-conscious. Oh no. Yeah, it's sometimes you gotta just throw the self-conscious sides of you away. I know that if I got too thought about that too much, I would never get on stream. But you know, just gotta do it, right? I'm much better than I was when I was younger. When I was like in my teens, early 20s, I was shy. I was super shy back then. I'm not now. After making so many NPC cameos in my game, I can finally have one of my own in someone else's. Yeah, I'm very excited to see Vagabond Dog's character and what they're going to be. That's for sure. Exciting times. 1K is such a huge step. It is. It's quite the grind as well. You can't get it too easy in this channel. I purposely make it hard to get because otherwise we'd be having NPCs submitted left, right and centre. Okay, so thinking how to word this. What should we name the... Oh gosh. Yeah, this is what it sucks not having a profession down from, because it's hard to describe this character otherwise, and we want to be able to describe them so we can get the best name for them. Right, I'm gonna have to Google this, just spend a few minutes figuring this out. What is the profession of someone who makes weapons that isn't a blacksmith? It's so easy to just say, oh, blacksmiths make weapons, but nope, not blacksmiths that don't deal with metal, don't. This is a blacksmith that only makes weapons out of rock and wood, folks. And potentially copper and bronze, maybe. But not sure yet. But definitely not iron or steel. Nope, Lakefall doesn't have that. Weapons Master? Would that be a good name? Cross this off. All of this planning is impressive. Yeah, it's a very heavy part of this what I do here on the stream. Probably well over 50% of the streams involve rambles and planning, just because I find streams, for me, everybody's different, but for me they're the most productive thing to do on stream. I find it really difficult to actually do work on stream, anything that requires huge amounts of focus. Can be very difficult to do on stream for me. So being able to have those community chats and rambles and just ideas is very valuable for stream time. But I have been trying to get outside my comfort zone, and I have been starting scene work on stream, which is something that I've often avoided doing on stream. I've usually done that off stream, but I'm starting to do it this week. Scenes are gonna be a heavy part of what we do on streams for the next few weeks. Mark or Ian, those are a good name. We can have 10 max on a poll, so that's 8. Do you feel you're quite close to moving across implementing into the engine? Yeah, so basically, we've already got a lot in RPG Maker, the cutscenes are in, but because we've had such scene expansions recently, and we've got, here's our dialogue flyers, this, is double, 3 times as much of the dialogue as we as we had originally for this main quest, this first main quest. So because there's so much more, that means there's a lot of scenes to expand on. Originally, this scene was like a quarter or a fifth of the size of this. It was like only 2 dialogue boxes long, and that, you know, it was over and done within a second. So it's had a complete expansion, and same for this scene. This scene was like 2 dialogue boxes long originally as well. So there's just a lot more to do compared to what the scenes were eventually. But there's stuff on the screenshot Saturdays that I did last year. I put up a few screenshot Saturday cutscene parts, but it's going to be a little bit different, just a touch different. Now we've got the scene expansions. The tone of the scene has changed a little bit to how it was originally. Carol the Barrel was originally a comic relief character, which she still sort of is in a way. I mean, how is a living barrel not comic relief? But the story itself is a lot more, well, how would you describe it? More thought-provoking now. There's a whole lore behind the barrels now. We've thought really deep into barrels, how they came into existence, and it's quite interesting and fascinating, really. But originally, when she was first created, there was none of that. She was just there for a joke. So there's just so much more now, and I like doing all those bits of foreshadowing and really thinking deep into the characters more than I did in the beginning when it was kind of just a joke. Alright, so we'll say Weapons Master of I think that's a good word to sum it up. What should we name the Weapons Master of Lakefall? And we could say we'll give a little physical description of this character. They've dark skin, are physically strong, brave and informal. Is informal the best way to describe? Informal and easygoing, maybe. Okay, so we're getting this poll up now. We got 8 names so far. If anyone's got any last minute suggestions, we've still got 2 slots open for strong masculine British names. So we're going to do a vote and see which one tops this name. And then we're going to do the Sprite, everybody. We've still got plenty of stream time left. Once this poll's up, I'm going to open Photoshop and we're going to make this guy's Sprite. And then we can actually finish the scene, because it's come to a halt because we've got a silhouette in the scene. We need a real person. But just so you know, guys, I'm planning on getting this scene 1 finished between now and next stream, and I'm gonna show it on stream at the start of next stream, and then we're gonna put in scene 3, this one. So fun times. I'm seeing this week, next week we'll have probably done these scenes, fingers crossed, and then the week after, and maybe the end of next week, we can work on main quest 2. Okay. I forgot how we do this poll, you know. been a while since we've had a poll. Oliver and Axel were two of the community created characters with names. You guys voted on their names. Have I spelled his name wrong? Is it Angus or... Yeah, I've got the G in the end the wrong way around. Big silly Billy. Reginald, Ivan, Mark and Ian. Cool. No typos, I hope. Awesome. Yay! We have a poll. Okay. It's been a while since we've had a poll, so I think we've got a command in chat for this. That will take you, or should take you, straight to this channel. And it'll let you vote on what name you like best for this weapons master. But in the meantime, we can make this character sprite while we're figuring out the perfect name for them. But if you're curious about the character a little bit more, they have had some dialogue. This is them, and once we've got them, we'll put their sprite there, and we'll replace the question mark with their name. It'll be fun to actually see them in the scene. And at some point we'll make a character arc sheet for them too, but that'll be in the future once we've got the scene work out the way a bit. I see we've got a voting already, folks. I'm going to be reminding you all stream. We've still got a bit of stream time left, plenty. So we've got plenty of time to get more votes in. And it'll be open all off stream until the next stream. So, plenty of time. But let's get Photoshop open. So what I'm going to do, I'll get my Photoshop screen up for you in a sec, folks. I'm just trying to find the file we need. Here we go. Okay. And in the meantime, folks, get voting on your favourite name. Good job they've got underwear on this time. I got a bit worried then in case I'd forgot to put it on. Okay, everybody. Oh gosh, so I've got tons of layers here. This is the custom hero, but I'm going to use this custom hero as a base for this character. I also have... Where's our other character sheet? I've got another massive PSD file of all our characters somewhere else. I'll get that up as well. So we might want to have a copy and paste of the assets in that too. My mouse is dying. I keep like having to click a bazillion times to get it to click something. find this damn PSD. I want this one too. One of the weekends I'm going to really organise my folders, because I'll admit it, they're a mess. There's so much random stuff in the folders and I can never find what I'm after. Hi Said, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. It is indeed. Well, the game is being made in RPG Maker. It's the tool that we use to put it together. Hard choices to choose from. Yeah, and if you want to vote for multiple names, feel free to, Kung, or any of the rest of you. You don't have to just vote for one. And for anyone who's just coming in, I'm referring to the poll here. We have a poll. You can join, you can vote for an NPC that we're making that's going to be in our first scene. So we need them for this scene. We don't necessarily have to know their name in this first scene, but we definitely need to decide how they're going to look, which is what we're doing here. Forgot about that. Yeah, feel free to vote for however many you want, even if you want to vote for every single one. You can pick the few that you like then. Okay, so I think I have to find this PSD because we need it. So bear with me a sec. I'm not organise it as a list. If my mouse was working, it'd be easier to do. And I'm not organise it by date because I know it was one of the more recent PSDs I opened, so. I found it. There it is. It's going to open in a minute. It's loading. It's a really big one. It's a humongous PSD, this one is. So it is good old Nigel. Fiona's here. Every single NPC in the game is on here. It was when we changed them all to tall sprites, folks. Everybody's here. So eventually, of course, as soon as we're done him, this character's going to get put on here as well. But for now, we will use oh, hang on. Let me just see if the assets are already in here, actually. No, they're not. We're going to have to use a custom hero. Okay. So we'll start with body. Hide the face. And they're going to be masculine, dark skinned. There we go. Okay, we've got the body and the face. Now for the eyes. And we have different eyes that fit with the different skin complexions. So these are just these are the custom hero eyes, but we can go with some of our more personality eyes that we did a couple of months ago. So I'm going to just have a look here at the eyes that we've got. But we will have to change the skin around the eyes. Might have to put a head there in the background so we can actually see the eyes properly. My mouse is literally being very mean. I'm having to click things several times for things to register. Hopefully it's just run out of batteries and I haven't not got a mouse. Because everything's been breaking on me recently. My electric blanket broke too. I've got loads I want to do, so better not break. Okay, so just having a look to see what eyes there are. And then once we know, I'm going to copy and paste them over to this, which is our actual asset. So we've got the shy eyes, we've got tough eyes, we've got emotional eyes, serious eyes, young eyes, handsome eyes, pretty eyes. Okay, so thinking of this character's personality, let's just have a quick overview again. They take their job as very seriously due to what's happened, and they're guilty from the war and feel they were to blame for people dying. So, but their personality is informal and they're quite kind of brave and tough. So thinking of that, they would either have the serious eyes, the emotional eyes, or the tough eyes, but I don't think they'd have the tough eyes. I think I like saving those for more antagonist types. This guy is good at heart. I'm thinking emotional eyes. So give him some brown emotional eyes. So let's copy those. And now we'll go over to actually, we shouldn't do this. I shouldn't be messing with the custom hero creator. So what we'll do instead is we'll drag his assets over to the other file. So first the body. And we'll make layer here under Fiona. Now actually we'll put him above Nigel because we are meeting him before Nigel actually, so he should go first. So there we go. And we'll make a folder and we'll call it question mark, because we don't know what their name is yet. We'll cross off that now. Game Dev Pog, hi crackheads, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. For anyone who's just coming in, lurking, you can join our Discord to get involved on our poll votes if you'd like to, because at the moment we are deciding the name of this character that we're making now. We just need a good name for them, and we need plenty more votes than we've got. But this poll will be open for a while. Well, for at least a couple of days. It'll be open until Friday's stream. So you've got the time. But we need the votes. And that should take you straight there. The second link should take you straight to the channel, and the first link will take you to the Discord if you're not already in votes. If you wanna vote on this glorious poll, you get to decide a character's name. Okay, so back to doing the character. So I decided on the emotionalized, probably brown. Okay, and we're gonna have to change the brow colour because it's for the pallid skin complexion. This one is. So what we have to do is my mouse. Behave. Let me just, I can't remember the colour, so I've got to look at this. Okay, now I do. So that one should be that. Yeah, I think that's correct. Let me get back because I'm not sure. Yeah, that's the one. If it turns out that it's not the right colours, then I'll just change it after stream. But I think that is the right colours. So now we gotta just copy and paste the eyes on all the others, and then we can find the perfect hair and the perfect outfit, right? And then we can do their face avatar after that. We'll do the sprite first and we'll do the face avatar after. Hi Julian, how you doing? It's good to see you. Hope you're having an awesome day. How is your week treating you? Okay, merge those. Hairstyle time, right? So, trying to think the easiest way for us to look at the hairstyles we've got available to us. Let me again give you. I'm going to be spamming this today. So we've got that polling on the votes. So poll vote, poll to vote on everybody. Okay, so the way that I've been doing it recently, since doing the characters in Photoshop and no longer the RPG Maker in Editor, is that I open the hair specifically from the folder. So male folder. Now there's about a few hundred assets in this folder, so I've got to go down to the hair. Or one thing we could do, just to make it a bit easier, I will open the RPG Maker generator actually. This is the first time we're making a character since we've switched to tall sprites, and we're doing things a bit differently now. We switched to tall sprites. Okay, so here we are. We'll just use this as a guide for the character. So we'll just do them as close to pop as possible how we vision them. Just have those eyebrows for now. Doesn't matter about the face or the mouth just yet. We'll figure those out when we do the avatar. Just want to figure out what hairstyle. So, does anybody imagine a sort of hairdo for this guy? Would he have shovel hair? Would he have long, unkempt? That's the question. Is that Nigel's hair? No, it isn't quite. I think that's Cryas's hair, actually. That's Nigel's. I'll just pick a random hairstyle and then we'll look at the bangs. I'm indecisive about these things. I'm thinking more of a practical short hair so it doesn't get in the way that while working. That's true. That is very true, especially because he crafts and he makes things. So let's just see what front hair bangs we've got available. But if we were going to go for some, that probably wouldn't be like that or something where they'd get in the way. They'd be I mean, I think you should be stylish because, sort of stylish, I guess, because if it's going to be a romance option for us and Nigel, there has to be something appealing about this character, otherwise they'll never get romanced. There was an attractive one. You think, Kung, let us know which one was and we'll go for it. We'll have a look, because that's kind of what I'm trying to go for, the husbando material. So chat need to help me with this. Yes, one with his hair one side but over his face. That's okay. Were you thinking something like that, Kung, or was there something different? It's really hard for me to get the visual guide, but the ones that look more sensible to me are the and practical, should I say, are the ones that aren't so flowy and like that. Like that would not be practical for work for sure. But that's not too bad. Or that one. But it's going over his eye a bit. Or is even the one like that where the bangs are a little bit more spiky. You know, we could go so many different directions. I think maybe one of the first H. Okay, there's only 2 H's I see, those two. And that one there is very, very long. That'd get all in the way of the weapons. Oh my goodness. We'll get it. We'll get it. That's okay. That looks quite practical. What do you think of that one? I mean, it's a short hairdo. It looks a bit scruffy. You know, fits his kind of more laid back sort of unkempt image, I guess. But it's not like unattractive either. Like Nigel, I could imagine being with this person, and maybe others would too. But yeah, so we'll have to get those clothes off him though, because those clothes are very deceiving. Makes him look like he's in a palace. So we'll take those off. But this sort of look, I think, is something that's going to be very close. We'll get that hair, and those eyes kind of work too, actually. We might have a look at what other eyes are available, but I'd say we're very close, because they're kind of serious and not too large, which fit with the eyes we picked for the sprite. So now we've got to just remember what hair we gave them, so that we can get the right ones for the sprite. Okay, so we'll do the rear hair first. Okay, so back to Photoshop, everyone. Now this is thank you for the votes, by the way, folks. I appreciate the extra votes. Though we're still very close, we don't have a clear winner yet because everybody's split. But I'll give you the poll again. I'll give you one last chance to vote at the start of next stream as well, everybody. But if we can get the bulk of them in before then, that'd be great. But we'll see where we are. Okay, so I think it's rear hair. There's so many assets here, so it can take a while to look through it and get the specific one, but we'll do it. I think it's going to be the rear hair one because that's the first one we've clicked. So I'm pretty sure it is that one. In fact, I'm 100% sure. So we'll get the rear hair one in. And then we'll get the front hair bangs that we've assigned for him. And of course this is blonde and it will need to be recolored because I think this character suits having dark hair. Just think it would work better. So, and the hair needs moving as well across each sprite. So, I should have we got a dark haired character that we can steal the colours from. Naomi has dark hair. So yeah, I'll be stealing her hair colours. So okay, so we'll get this one on in first, and then he's just got like a bit of bangs, just a touch that need to go on him, and then we can think of some clothes for him once we've done that. So I'm still showing the poll here, everybody. I feel like I should have it on the screen mostly so everyone can actually see the poll and that there's something to vote for, but I'll also get Photoshop up so you can see. Okay, and then we got the actual back side, so that's on a separate layer and that needs to come in. Let's turn it dark. Yeah, it's quite easy to change the colour once you know what the colours are. How long do we have to vote? You will have until the beginning of next stream vote. So it all depends on how many votes we get. Like if say we come back on Friday and it's still like this, we'll have to keep it open. If say we got a clear winner by the start of Friday's stream, then we're good to close it. So we'll see. So going by what seems to flow nice when used in Nigel and name, I lean towards Duncan, Angus and Mark. Yeah, feel free to vote for all three, Matt. If you've got your eye on on a few and you can't pick, there's not a standout one, feel free to put a vote in for more than one. You're allowed to do that, folks. And then we'll see what wins. Whatever's the overall most liked. And you know, in some playthroughs, this guy and Nigel might not like each other. It might not work out with them. And in some playthroughs, you might romance Nigel instead, or you might romance this guy instead, and then they won't get together. But if we were going to go for that feature where NPCs do get together, then, you know, this couple could make sense. I mean, there's no one else delightful for Nigel at the moment. And they parallel each other nicely. They're very different. They're like opposites in characters, so they could learn a lot from each other, which is an interesting dynamic. Okay, so let's get the bangs in now. I think his bangs were... I'm gonna have to make him bald so I can see the bangs properly. We went for some practical bangs that weren't like all in his face. I think I should remember that it's the fourth one from the bottom. So let's open that file. Good point. I suggested Reginald, but Nigel and Reginald trips over itself. You think it doesn't have a ring to it? And welcome, Wex, to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're having a good day. And I'll give the link again to you folks in chat in case some people are popping in and don't know there's a poll. We got a very good, cool poll, folks. You get to have the say in what this NPC on the screen right now should be called. They are, I suppose we originally had them as the blacksmith of Lightfall, but they're more, we're thinking of a more general name for that, which is weapons master, because we don't know whether the weapons themselves will be made from metals. Yeah, I found it. So it's front hair 1804 is the name. We'll colour it in and then we'll be able to position it properly then. It's hard to do it when it's the wrong colour. I know we got a little pink bit there, but let's colour it in. How's the stream today? Hi, Careless Handsome. How's it going? We have a poll. I'll just let you know because Rex just come in and anyone else might want to see it. But the poll is right there. It should send you there. So feel free to vote for more than one if there's a couple of names you like. People have tended to go for the name that sounds best with Nigel and has the best flow with Nigel out the bunch, because this character and Nigel are clearly a parallel to each other. He's the weapons master Lightfall, Nigel's the innkeeper, and they're very different in personality and they are a potential sort of match in the game relationship. And they both will probably be a casual romance option too. Nigel's already on the cards to be a casual romance option, but only for males. You can only romance Nigel if you're a dude. Whereas this guy's probably going to be an all-gender romance. And yeah, we do this sprite now, Rex and chat. We're coming up with his look, and other than that, we're waiting on what the name should be. And we've also made a document of some ideas with this character. And when they're done, they're going to be put here. I think they could be a charming character. They're definitely a little bit rough around the edges, as in they're a little bit of a ruffian, maybe slightly informal with the language they use. They're definitely not posh like Nigel, but I think they should be likeable. Have a good backstory, that's the goal. I think that's the right position. It's hard to tell actually. No, it's not the right position. A good trick is this. Okay, 8 pixels. Oh, it's that high up. yeah, I can always mess with this. Like, that looks about right, but I might be a pixel or so off, but I'll fuss about with that afterwards, because I want to get clothes on him soon. I might make his hair a touch darker too, like get rid of the grey streaks. I'm not sure just yet, but I'll experiment. We'll see what he looks like when he's got some clothes on. Rear hair. Because this is what his avatar's sort of looking like. If we get... gonna be about, it's gonna look sort of like that, the face, that and that doesn't have any like sort of light colours in his hair. Hi Zexio dude, so good to see you, and I'm sorry gotta love the rest of the stream. Have a great evening and thank you for the stream today. Welcome Kung, and again, I'm going to remind you folks, I hope you have a lovely rest, Kung. Where's he gone? Where's the pole hiding from me? Pole's here, everybody. We're getting some more votes in, but it's very, very equal at the moment. The votes are very split. So definitely no clear winner just yet on this poll. We went for British sounding names so that we stick with the Lakefall theme that we've got, Nigel and Fiona, and we went for like some sort of like strong masculine sounding names. And Zexy, we have made a little overview of this character. They might be a potential romance for Nigel and us as well, if not Nigel. But I haven't shared this anywhere yet, so you might have to have a peep at the VOD, anyone that's curious about the NPC's details. Okay, so I'm going to just test a few things with the hair. Just, I think, touch more black rather than grey. I mean, he's not that old yet. He's still in his early 30s. So... Well, I'm grey and I'm not completely. Not yet. That looks a bit closer to the avatar now. I think that's a touch better, but we've got to do it for this bit too. Okay. There's this bit though. I don't know where this goes, but it's meant to be the rear. It's meant to be the front bangs on the rear. I doubt we'd see much of it. I'm gonna leave that off for now. Okay, clothes. As a weapons master, let's get an idea of the sort of things they'd wear. Obviously, we need tall sprite clothes assets, so we can't look in the RPG generator for this one, but I've got them somewhere, so I've got to just find where I'm hiding them. I'm going to show the poll on the screen, everyone, so you know that there's a poll while I look at these tall clothes. Oh yeah, so just looking at, let's remind ourselves of the sort of clothing that the NPC's wearing, like for. Nigel wears clothing, makes sense, innkeeper. Fiona, not much, it's all cloth materials. Rose wears cloth, light armour. He wears armour, but he's probably got his armour from the capital where they do blacksmith, you know, metals. Her stuff is all light armour as well. That's all light armour. It's all, you know, none of it's metal basically. She's a definitely metal, but again, she's further out, more late game. That's definitely metal. Christ, definitely just cloth, bits of material even. That's just material and robes. That's just material and robes. That's definitely high level armour. Material. So the ones I'm noticing that do have metal on their clothing are like all the characters that you would imagine being close to towns where they'd have good valuable resources, like the capital or and stuffs. Not Everbloom Forest, which is early game, and a short of that. Cool. So I wanted to check through all that because we have a big conversation of today has been if this guy is a weapons master, which we've given him that name instead of blacksmith because we don't really know if, you know, metal is a resource here. Weapons might be made out of wood, or they might be made out of stone and rock from the cliffs. And even if there was metal ores in those cliffs, maybe it'd just be bronze or copper, like very metals that wouldn't be very strong, or because this is early game. What's sold in the shops can't be OP at this stage because it's the first level of the game. So I'm seeing it as a RPG progression. You'll get better armor, better equipment, stronger metals as you go further into the towns in the world. So because of that, the weapons master himself probably wouldn't be armoured in metals. So I'm carefully looking to see if the sort of thing he'd wear. It would definitely have to be practical. I even thought the vest or something to that degree, just like casual pants and some vest. But obviously I'm limited with assets because of the taller sprites. But there are still quite it's a good choice. As you can see, there's plenty here. I don't know if there's any here I can Frankenstein onto our new character. I might have to go for a different outfit. We can even go for a look that John has this guy here and just give him pants but no shirt. Blacksmiths are usually topless, so we could totally go for that, especially because he's kind of physically strong. And leather or hide armour, then loose enough for him to have full movement but still useful at deflecting training blows, and animal claws. Yeah, so yeah, it definitely needs to be some sort of armour that isn't too heavy. With it being lightful and the lack of that kind of equipment. But the question is he one who is proud of his physical strength? Would he wear less than more? Okay. I found one piece of clothing that could work, and it isn't a naked one. There's clothes though he wouldn't be topless, but it looks like metal armor, so we'd have to recolor it so it looks more like leather or hide, and maybe that can be pulled off then, looking at it, because it's mostly light armor to see. Oh, Zexy votes shirtless. Yeah, if he's a romanceable option, you know, we gotta think from the perspective of the fans and the fact that they're gonna want decent romance options. Then nobody's gonna want to romance someone that isn't appealing to the eye. So let's face it, maybe we should go for the shirtless. Because I did find a one, but there's going to be a bit of editing to that asset to make it look like leather or hide armour. So if I want to take the easy route, where it's less work for me, we could totally make him shirtless and just put pants on him. Blacksmiths, weapon masters, it's not common for them to not wear stuff. Let's Google it. Blacksmith character, and we'll see what comes up, just for a bit of inspiration, everybody. And although, like we say, he might not be a standard blacksmith, he's still basically that, even if he doesn't use iron or metals to make his weapons. So fantasy RPG. Yeah, this one's one that's in the nude. This old guy here. Can't even see properly. It's a bit small of a picture. Oh, this one's bigger. Slightly. But you know what I mean? That's what they're like. They just show off their torsos without a care in the world. So he could totally be like that. If he works with metal, I would think at least a metal working apron. If he works with wood, he could focus on bow and arrow, which would fit in with a town with a lot of hunting. Yeah, maybe he could be a bit of one that dabbles in a lot of things. I mean, not necessarily metal, because they probably don't have, that's a rare material for full, but you know, it could be the odd bit, the odd rare ore they find in the clefts, you know, he could, but it would be very, very, very valuable if they were to ever have metal there. Most of their weapons I could imagine would be either wood or stone or rock or whatever. But you know, evidence that blacksmiths don't have much. Okay, so and Zexy vote shirts. Okay, here's our poll getting on. Let's see how it's doing. Still very close in the votes, aren't we, everybody? What on earth are we going to do if it remains like this? I'm going to put the poll in chat again, so you can vote. I'm going to stream a little bit longer, just for the sake of getting some more votes in if we can. But we got a character to finish as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal John's pants. Oops. Good job, there's nothing there. Let's steal John's pants. And I'm going to recolour them for this guy to pick colours that are more fitting with the vibe of the town and the materials that they have here. So we don't need the red bands, we can delete those. Oops. Okay, so I'm thinking a neutral colour of pants. I'll have a look to see if we can get a colour scheme idea from another character. Yeah, something like a khaki sort of green, like what Chryas is wearing, wouldn't be out the ordinary. Neither would these sort of neutral browns that Rex is wearing. That could be fitting. Just grab those and see how it looks. But we might want him to have a bit of contrast. So I'm not 100% sure if we'd go for the brown, because we might want the clothes to stand out more, because he might actually look nude, you know. So that's something to consider too. One sec, because we do have some trousers in this tall sprite generator that are a sort of green colour and they could work. They could stand out on him. But they're attached to a top that's armoured, so that bit would need chopping off. And the belt might either disguise that a bit or remove it. But yes, and back to the, let's look at the, go back to RPG Maker for the face. Ignore the sprites because we don't use those now, we use our tool sprites. But look, we can look at the avatar. So we got the hair that we like. Oh yeah, we didn't discuss whether he should be a bearded man or not, did we? I feel like he needs to fit Nigel so they actually would work together, because I don't know whether that... I'm not sure. Like, I'm actually torn now whether we should go for a beard or keep him clean shaven. Either way. Because Nigel doesn't have a beard. Hi Sortra, how you doing? It's so good to see you. I forgot to message you and ask what your name was. I'll do that today if I can remember. How are you though? I hope you're well. Hope you are. We've still got a little bit of time before the end of the stream, so anyone who's just come in and hasn't voted on our poll for the name for this character, feel free to do that. Okay, so I think I weirdly do like the first eyes, but that's because they're small and how we want them to look. But we'll have a look. I'm going to have a look through in general and look for matching eyes with the ones that we've got on our sprite. Because he does have more smaller eyes, they're not huge. Narrowed eyes, should I say. But generally it's probably better to go for one of the ones labelled D, lower down, because they're the default, I think. So we might want to go for some that look a bit different, but we still want to make sure he's husbando enough for you all. You know, he has to be husbando enough. Because that ain't husbando. If metal is rare, he might not have the tools to shave. That's true. But how is Nigel clean shaven then? Maybe Nigel can't grow a beard. But it's like, I'll ask Sexy, do you think he's more husbando with a beard or without a beard? Do you think, looking at the characters we've got, Nigel, that it'd be a good contrast if he was bearded and Nigel wasn't bearded? Because I'm thinking that could work if he did have a beard, because he really would contrast and be opposite to Nigel then, wouldn't he? But is he husbando enough? That's what I need to know, because you'll be romancing him, chat. Is that husbando? Want to see my rainbow? It's about variety, isn't it, folks? If we can't have all clean shaven choices of romance, and we can't have all bearded, it's about mixing it up a bit. And if we think of who we got so far, we got a barrel, we got a vampire, a pale dark-haired vampire lady. She's definitely clean shaven. We got Nigel, who's clean shaven. Asharu's clean shaven. Have we got any bearded? I'm actually curious if we've even got any bearded characters. Mordecai's bearded though, so, but that's whether he's romance. So hi Speed Son, how you getting on? And Doshi, how you doing? Maybe he waxes, yeah. And I prefer my men to be beardless personally, but I think it's better for Nigel to be clean and him to be bearded. It's an interesting contrast for sure. I mean, that would mean he's not, people like you guys wouldn't romance him if you're not into beards, but it's all about putting that variety in so that, you know, there's plenty to choose from. Because otherwise some people could play the game and they'd be like, everyone here's clean shaven, where's all bearded men? And you know, then they'd be disappointed, right? So, and that's why I wanted this guy to be dark skinned as well, so that we have variety of like colour as well in the game. We don't want everyone to be light skinned, so it's all about getting that variety in, so you've got plenty of choice, guys. And I'm torn now, I'm not sure which one to go for, because we've got mixed thoughts, and we could always compromise by going for a stubble rather than full on beard, right? If some of you are like, I don't like beards, and others are like, you should have a beard, we could always go for, but we need to make sure we pick stubble that looks good if that's the case, and not stubble that looks bad, because some of this don't work on the face shapes. What face shapes have we got? I think the stubble seems to work on chiseled faces a bit better, but we'll see. Let's just have a look. So, I mean, feel free to have your say in chat, clean shaven, bearded or stubble. Feel free to say now. If we can't decide, we might even put up a poll for this next time. Because I'm definitely torn at the moment. We can either go full on bearded, we can go stubble, or we can go clean shaven boy with a baby face. There's 3 options there. But maybe him and Nigel would go better as a couple if they're 2 clean shaven boys, right? Would Nigel's type even be the bearded? I'm not sure. He's quite, but I don't think Nigel's that fussy, but there's a bit to consider, isn't there? We need to look at him and Nigel together as a couple. Okay, so before we go today, what I'm going to do is save this face image. Call it this. And we're going to put this guy, this beardless guy, next to Nigel in paint. And we'll see if they go, if they're a match. If we feel they fit as a couple. So, where's paint? Here we go. Move this across. Now, where's Nigel's face? Where's that hiding? I love how it's all become about Nigel and these guys a couple, because that's just such a small part of their arc, in all honesty, and it might not happen in a lot of branches, but it's a possibility. And I'm looking for Nigel's face. Can't believe I can't find it. Oh, I know where it'd be. It would be in the actual game assets. We need to put their sprites next to each other too, so merge visible. He's not wearing any clothes yet, but ignore that. That's him, and now let's get Nigel up. They're very different. These guys are polar opposites, guys. That's the appeal. Opposites attract. Well, as far as the game goes, there's a lot of places that can have bearded people. Isn't the Prime Minister with a beard? Yeah, he's got a moustache, hasn't he? And isn't there a few others? Radu has a beard, yeah. But the problem is Radu's character's not romanceable, so people might feel cheated. They might think, oh, that bearded hunk isn't romanceable, damn it. And then he's the only bearded person left. But no, you know, there's plenty of choices, you know, and I'm starting to think this guy suits not having a beard, because I don't know if he'd even go with Nigel and if they'd look right together. If he was bearded, I think they look better like that. What do you guys think? Nigel won't mind, so we won't either. You think they make a cute couple? Yeah, I think so too. So were you interested in romancing this character, Van, until you found out they were going to be bearded, and then you was like, no, never? They look like a nice young couple. Yeah, Nigel's 29 and this guy's 33, so he does look quite young for his age, but I do, so you know, you can look young for your age. And they can't be children, like they can't be teenagers, because these guys had to be alive in the war. This guy on the left had to be old enough in the war to feel responsible for people's deaths because of his weapons not being good enough. And I thought 16, like an apprentice weapons maker, because that's old enough to feel responsibility. If he was any younger than that, it probably wouldn't have bothered him as much. And Nigel would have been 12, like the same age as Fiona, which gives a parallel. And a reason why Nigel fears his sister doing stuff so much, because he had a really rough time when he was her age. I'm just not one to romance the bearded ones, yeah. But yes, I was thinking at first beard, because I thought it'd be a good contrast. But maybe it'd be too much of a contrast, so much that those two would never ever work together. But I think like this, it wouldn't be out the ordinary to imagine them sort of be pairing off. And I think we need to think of it like that, because one thing we says our romance system is going to be is, if it works out, something where the NPCs romance each other. It's not just about who you as the hero romance, it's about who they'll be with if you don't romance them. Both of these two should be casual romance options for the player as well. Nigel will just be for men, people of and he would be for all genders, I'd say, because I think it's good to let him be an option for female players as well. I don't think it's good. I don't want to restrict too much, but Nigel, I think we need to have the gay character in the game for sure. So okay, let's cross that off now. It's good that we've seen them together. So the only thing we've got left to do, really, let's get Photoshop up. I need to just get an outfit on for him, and we've had a bit of a chat with what he's going to wear. Possibly might not have much on because blacksmiths don't. And other than that, I'm just going to make sure that this face set gets finished. I think we're all right. We just need to put the clothes on that as well. But I think we're 90% there with him. We're getting there with him. He's forming. And then just lastly, before we head off, Paul. Being exposed to folks with food stuck in their beards and too many unkempt beards in my life, really. Oh no. It's too extreme for Van. Had too much unkempt beard forced in their face. LOL. Okay, so Paul. So before we head off and raid someone and do the trivia, I just want to let you guys know, if you haven't voted, feel free to, because it's looking very close right now. We've had quite a few votes on it, but it's very, very spread out. So we will need to get more of a clear winner before we come to a decision with this one. I can still vote myself, and we might have some votes come in between now and next stream and at the start of next stream. I guess he'll be pretty important since he appears on the start screen. Oh, do you want to do trivia? We'll do trivia when I look for someone to raid, so get prepared, everybody. But he's the first character that appears in the game right now, apart from Carol the Barrel. So he is pretty important. Whether he'll be the first character you actually see other than Carol is questionable, because right now Lakefall's not very populated. All there is on the screen is Carol, you inside Carol the Barrel. But I imagine as we go through the playable builds and we do start populating Lakefall with the NPCs, when that starting screen opens and you've made your custom hero, it'll be really cool to see the NPCs walking about maybe and going in and out the buildings as the camera pans towards you inside Carol. So just so it looks like a living, breathing town, but we probably won't get that much heavy detail until like a future playable build. It'll still be just you and Carol in the opening scene in the very first playable build. Alright everybody, so this character's going to get who we've done today. He's going to get put into the scene on Friday. I'd like to be able to show you that opening scene on Friday. We're going back into scene work on Friday, folks. Now we've got this NPC. I just wanted to get a stream out the way where we've talked about this character and we've planned them. And we know who we're making, but it'll be back to the scene work now, and maybe we'll be able to start the scene where Carol joins the party as well on Friday if we get that opening scene done, and then the following week we can finish off the Fiona and Nigel scenes, and the week after that probably the flashback scene with the barrels and then the fruit scene. So it'll be probably a 3-week thing, the scenes. We'll see how it goes. But yes, it's been an interesting chat, like, you know, having a chat about what sort of weapons would be made here, and it's looking like it won't be metal, and if it was, the metal would be very scarce, like rare, and it wouldn't be like anything that's valuable metal. It would just be unvaluable metal, if anything. But We'll see. Okay, so exclamation mark trivia. What does Carol do for the hero? What is her job? Indeed. I was wondering, why does the hero say nothing there? Could he say no idea? Inventory, you got it, Van. I'll give you a point in a sec. Oh, you're talking about the dialogue? Yeah. So we could always change it. I think at the heart of this dialogue box, we want you to be able to say nothing's going on. Like, you don't want to rat Carol out, basically. That's what that dialogue box is. And maybe nothing sounds a little bit plain. Maybe we do need to give that dialogue box a bit more personality, so I'm with you there. Nothing sounds a little bit... So, but ultimately, as long as it leads to you saying, yeah, nothing's going on, and trying to just... make sure this guy knows that Carol's not there, then that's fine. So yeah, I feel that gives it a little bit more personality. I think the nothing dialogue box, now you've pointed it out, felt like it could be misleading even. So that just clearly makes it sound like it's dialogue rather than just nothing. Oh, hey, hi, Eddie Cake, how you doing? It's kind of dry. Cool. But that's good. I'm glad you pointed out, because then we can have the validated in the scene when I show you on Friday. And although this, you know, it could still be considered somewhat of a first draft of the expanded version of the scene, there's still room, you know, there's still room to change bits around if we feel we need to make the dialogue somewhat better. I switched a couple of things around the other day, actually. It sounded a bit like it was worded a bit in the passive voice, one of these boxes, so I changed it around. I just switched the sentence around in this bit. And hey Rose, love what you're making, keep it up. Thank you, Monkey, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much. And Monkey and Andy and anyone else who's lurking, by the way. If you want to vote in this poll that's here, feel free to. We've just made a new NPC. He's here. He needs clothes, but he's here. I'm looking for a name for him. But let's give Van that trivia point. We're clueless about the Barrel's life and what the heck she is, indeed. We are going to be very perplexed when we meet Carol, which I'm looking forward to showing it you guys, because I've been trying to like put more effort into the hero's reaction to seeing Carol for the first time. And luckily, because we've got this custom hero sprite maker now, there's more opportunity to make the hero a little bit less wooden. So we'll see how that goes. And we aren't ratting her out this way either, lol. Indeed. So that dialogue box change was fine because it didn't change anything. It's still got to the heart of what that dialogue box is meant to be about. So okay, points, Vandalia 1. There we go. You are winning this month. Congrats. Okay. Exclamation mark raid, everybody. A bit awesome if you can join me. And the poll is so close, I can't believe it. Absolutely cannot believe it. I thought we might have a clear winner, but we haven't. So I'm going to give that again. I've really been spamming chat with this poll lately, today. Okay. So today, I'm gonna go to Vagabond Dog. We raided Define Dreams last time, so we'll raid Vagabond Dog today. You're welcome. I'll see you all on Friday. Oops, I think I've got sound in the background. I'll see you all on Friday and we'll carry on with the scene work, and it's going to all be very fun. And we'll maybe have a winner for the poll as well on we'll be able to decide the name on Friday. We'll see, because it might still be closed, but we'll see. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Have an awesome week. See you soon. Bye bye.